So this video is going to be a little bit different than the other two videos. Um, Let me start by saying that I actually did record normal gameplay like I did with the previous two videos. It's just that when I went to edit the video, turned out the audio was completely unusable. Not sure what happened. I think my microphone just crapped out. But it's actually a good thing because that video was over an hour of gameplay and I still had not finished the game. If I had kept that pacing, I probably would have ended up making 3 more videos, and I didn't want to do that. So this way, I actually have a better way of representing this game and making this video, in that I'm going to actually just show clips of each stage, because a lot of this is just repetition anyway, so you don't really need to see the full gameplay. You just need to see a couple of little things here and there just to kind of get the idea. But also I need to comment on the game as a whole, because there is a lot more to this game, and I was asking myself, what is this actual game? Is it just, a silly game? Is there a message behind it? And I pretty much got my answer.
Work and money. In a capitalist system, you're free to make your own money, meaning you live, die, or buy expensive cars based on your merits and ability to sell people things they don't need at outrageous prices. This job will require
So right there you can see that the message is kind of hidden, but what they're trying to say is that capitalism is wrong. Or at least it's trying to put the idea of capitalism being bad. So there is a political message in this game. I'm not going to sit here and actually break down all of the different messages that they are trying to put forth, or even argue them, because quite frankly, I don't have the energy for that, and I think it would be pointless, first off, and it would just take too much time that this game doesn't really deserve. Now, the game at its core is, it's really just a tool, it seems, that they are using to push a political message, and it's in the form of an anti-gun and even anti-American propaganda message, and it's hidden with what is being presented as just a silly first-person shooter game. Now, the game itself seems to be about, I would say, 75% just political propaganda, but the other 25% is actual fun gameplay. And it's a shame because it shows that the game actually had potential to be a really fun game.
Can you smell that? The unmistakable aroma which fills the soul with passion and...
Buongiorno, it's me, Stevan. Welcome to La Barretta.
Let me clear the table for you. In Italy, we use our hands. However, this is America!
So right there, they're just trying to make this over-the-top mockery of the stereotype of the gun-loving, right-wing, junk food-eating, super patriotic American. And it's a theme that's going to be played out throughout the entire game. So the game is pretty much broken up into sections where you have these weird little interactions, like this stage here, where there's not a lot of gameplay, and it kind of just forces you into being part of and having to listen to their political message, while at the same time, every so often, when you're done with that, you get to actually have some exciting gameplay.
This is why you should only eat American cheese.
Now, the dog is going to actually be the main character that embodies this stereotype of the patriotic American.
Served in Russian style, I present to you Nonna Baretta's famous spicy chocolate truffle. The truffle is infused with the Calabrian demon chilies, wrenched from the ninth circle of hell itself. Their capsaicinoid concentration is so very charged that they actually melt the skull with skin. Consuming them can cause the bleeding gums, hallucinations, eternal third-degree burns, and profuse rectal hemorrhaging.
Now we got ourselves a game. You and me.
One of the chambers in that revolver contains the truffle. Fire the gun into your mouth, and if you're lucky, you'll get a load of Nana Baretta's hot love. Go on, pick up the revolver, Diddy Mao.
I honestly don't understand what this whole scene is about. I think it's taken from the movie The Deer Hunter. It's the scene where they play Russian roulette, and in fact, I think the guy that was being held captive and forced to play that game, the person holding them captive was saying those things. But what does this have to do with the entire game? I have no idea. Other than being just a popular pop culture reference, which they do use in this game a lot. They do grab a lot of these pop culture references, and I think it's just to kind of keep people engaged as Easter eggs.
When I said I wanted a tip, I didn't mean one with the hollow point. Have a lovely evening. Where did you come from? Well, that's quite a long story. You see, you were produced by a method called sexual intercourse. Now, the ratings board wouldn't want me going into nitty-gritty details, but I'll try to explain it in simplified terms that you can understand.
Now, they use a lot of this ridiculous humor, which under normal circumstances would actually improve the game, and it would actually make the game kind of more fun and engaging, as opposed to just being silence. But the problem here is, once you kind of figure out what this game actually is, it just becomes condescending and patronizing.
If you pump it repeatedly, you can charge up your shots to get them flaming hot. Try it now. Grab the end of the shotgun with your handgun. There we go. Fired up and ready for action. Now shoot down the rest of those targets.
Now, I think we all kind of get the joke there, what that's supposed to simulate. And it's even funnier because you have to do this in real life. The hand motion, even though you don't actually have the gun. So anybody that sees you doing this is probably gonna think it's funny. And if the whole game was just that, and just good shooting and gameplay, it would have been a really good game. Unfortunately, those types of aspects that it has is just kind of limited. As I said before, they kind of space it out. They give you a little bit of that to keep you engaged, and then afterwards they make you sit through boring gameplay where you kind of just have to listen to the dog talk and kind of spew the message that they're spewing. And again, that's the failing point of this game.
Look like a sex scene.
Hey there, hot stuff. Why don't we get those clothes off of you? What are you waiting for? Undress me. Ooh.
As funny as this next scene is, I chose to mute the actual volume. You can see the little subtitles that they provide for you, telling you what's actually happening, or at least what the sounds are. And again, it's funny, and it makes the game just fun to play. I think the whole reason for that is just to, again, keep you engaged just long enough.
You proposed to your beloved Taylor, and she said yes. She also happens to be pregnant. So in light of that, your wedding plans have been slightly...
Take this silencer. It's a family heirloom. You'll need it when the nagging starts. Trust me on that one.
So what we have here is the old trope of the shotgun wedding. You know, you got the girlfriend pregnant, so now you absolutely have to marry them. And this is antiquated. You know, this is from old culture. But I want to say that these little scenes, you know, they, again, if anything, they serve as a distraction. But if you look at the visuals on the game, they're actually pretty good. My understanding is this is an older game, and the colors are a little off, but the actual design, the set designs that they have in there are pretty cool looking, and I do enjoy them. But again, it's just like the game itself is just all over the place.
All our bagels are lovingly gun-crafted to perfection. Most customers can't even taste the lead. Hit the button to start up the machinery.
So this style of like shooting gallery mini games, a lot of them are actually fun. For example, this one here, it starts off slow. You have to shoot holes in the bagels. You have to shoot those, unfortunately, rat contaminated dough out of the way. And slowly it kind of picks up the pace. And that's what makes it fun, okay? You kind of have to multitask. You have to keep track of your ammo. You got to be quick. You got to be accurate. And that's what makes this type of shooting game fun. But again, throughout the whole game, you only get pieces of that, short little bursts, and then it's followed by just, again, boring, talking, meaningless gameplay. I mean, it's not meaningless. It has a purpose. It's just, I don't think it's the purpose that you went into when you paid for this game.
Toils in the We've prepared two iconic American activities for you to enjoy. First, beer.
Now this stage is just another example of that long-winded, boring, unfortunately propaganda-filled type of gameplay. I cut out a ton of gameplay from this part because it was just me sitting there while the dog just talks, the TV was on, and it was more of this, you know, propaganda stuff. And then eventually end up here where it is a little bit more of just more propaganda. About the only thing you actually have to do in this whole scene, which is a lot longer than what you're seeing because I cut out a lot, was to shoot a cigarette out of somebody's mouth. And that's pretty much it. And you have this story that, oh yes, you know, you now have a child. And it just, I don't understand. It doesn't fit a game. Like, if it's story based, okay, but it's so long-winded that it just it becomes annoying.
A bounty hunter, a gear of war, a bold space marine, a soldier that answers the call of duty in modern warfare, anything.
And then there they just listed a bunch of popular video games just to list it. They throw a lot of pop culture and a lot of references when it comes to like games and such, and I don't really know why. It's just, I guess, Easter eggs again. Now this minigame was also pretty fun. Again, it's the same recipe. It's a shooting gallery, but it's with purpose. You have to actually shoot certain things at certain times. You're multitasking, and again, that's fun. You know, that's kind of the point of a game like this. But again, it's short bursts. So you get this gameplay followed by what was in the previous stage of just nothing. other than sitting there and listening. And you can't skip it. That's the worst part. It's this whole game from where I left off in the last video would probably be about 3 or 4 hours of gameplay, and that's rushing. And by rushing, I mean, you know, accomplishing the tasks as quickly as possible. Most of it is just unskippable dialogue. But again, this part, like if the whole game was just stuff like this, where I'm, you know, actually fast-paced gameplay and I have to be accurate, then the game would have been, to me, a winner. But instead, it's just, it's one of those games that I would pass. If I had to buy it over again, or if I had the chance, I would have passed on this.
Communism all over our beautiful garden. Look out! That bird is dropping a stinky load of communism our way. Sorry to interrupt the festivities, but I have some unfortunate news I need to share with you. Some crazed madman attacked and killed your mother. He coincidentally had a gun and shot her with it, but well, that's besides the point. The good news is the assailant left the gun at the scene of the crime, and we've recovered it. Guns are marked with a uniquely identifying serial number, so we may be able to trace it back to the culprit.
So once again, we just finished playing some fun aspect of the game, and now we're forced to sit through this nonsense. And this is where the game really takes a turn, where they really just kind of stop being subtle about what their, you know, message is supposed to be. They kind of force you to go through this. Their message is pretty clear, what they're trying to get across here. I did notice that the American flag is actually wrong. I think the stripes are right, but the number of stars are wrong. If you count them, I think it comes out to like 48. So they ain't designed that right. I don't really care though. This is actually a lot longer than what you're seeing. So it would have taken forever to get through this. And they actually, that's deliberate.
And then shoot that big give up button. At least 20,000 Americans every year agree that this is the best option. As a consolation for your loss, please accept these thoughts and prayers on the house. Young Bang.
So at this point, they do start to kind of include these statistics, these cherry-picked statistics about gun violence and gun-related stuff. Again, I'm not going to try to argue it. There's no point. Because nobody cares. But they also start throwing in little like digs here, and that's when you really start to see, oh, the bias involved in the production of this game. And that's when you really start to see, oh, okay, this is not a game. I've been tricked into having to sit here and listen to political propaganda.
Outside world, where predators are always on the prowl, seeking to destroy the freedom and peace we hold so dear. We can combine.
Now I know I'm shitting on this game a lot. It's just that I had high expectations for it, and I'm disappointed. The fact is, there are very good aspects to the game as a game, and in this level, that's one of those aspects. I mean, it's a little tedious at the beginning, shooting the little fish, but then this is like a boss fight. It's not a proper boss fight, but it's meant to be like a boss fight. And it was kind of fun, you know, in certain aspects of it where the giant fish is coming straight at you. You know, it's in VR, it's nice. But again, overall, the game just disappointed me, and this is why I'm kind of saying what I'm saying.
Watch out! Sergeant Whiskers is carrying a concealed weapon! Well, it would seem we're in quite the pickle here. As an American citizen, Sergeant Whiskers has a constitutional right to carry arms and defend himself. He exercised his right, as we all should when faced with a mortal threat.
this is where the game really starts to kind of take a turn. Um, it's they start to show the dog as being completely unhinged, which he is, of course, and but at the same time the gameplay just starts to fall apart. As you can see, I'm shooting and the bullets are getting deflected, and I think this was more of a mechanic where it kind of just failed. I don't know what happened at this point, but you end up going through this whole level of just chaos, and your job is to shoot the hair off of the people and try not to kill them, but it doesn't really work out that way. And from this point on, the game really kind of spirals out, and we're getting close to the end at this point. In this part where the wife is pregnant again, her water broke, and now the dog is driving, and we're shooting cars off the street. Obviously the cops are getting involved, and we're the crazy ones, even though the dog is acting as if we're perfectly normal. And again, the dog is supposed to represent that super radical stereotype of the American patriot. And as an American, that's insulting, first off. But I would think if you're not American and you're seeing this, but you have enough sense to know that this is ridiculous, you should be insulted as well, because they're insulting your intelligence at this point.
For an important message from the newly appointed President of the United States. People of America, today is a momentous day. It marks the dawn of a new age, a second American Revolution. We, the people, have paved way for a new paradigm of thinking and being, one that leads with strength, dignity, and steel. You gave us, the American Rifle Association, the power to thrive and the support we needed to take the next step in our evolution. You voted Behold, the gun factory of tomorrow. My American dream! We, the people, form the constitution of the greatest gun factory of all time. And you want your freedom? Then take it. From my cold, dead hands.
So this is where the game's message really comes together. The dog represents the American Rifle Association, which is a play on the National Rifle Association, or the NRA, and that's the organization that is actually pushing for gun rights in America. They portray them as gun manufacturers, though, and they basically make it seem like they are out to just profit from gun violence and use fear in that sense. But that seems to be the message once you get to the end of it.
You should have seen the look on your face. Just kidding. What did you think was going to happen? Remember, guns kill bad guys, and I'm just a dog. Thank you for joining us on this magical adventure. Together, we've learned the undeniable benefits of gun ownership for the common man. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you've learned what it means to be a true American, and just how wonderful life can be when you're packing heat. On behalf of the American Rifle Association, I would like to formally thank you again for joining us in living the American dream.
So this is actually just one of two endings. So this is the ending you get when you actually shoot the dog. But if you don't shoot the dog, you actually end up with an ending where the dog shoots you, and then it actually switches to like live action. So it's a video of an actual person sitting in a chair, dead from a gunshot wound, with the dog laying down in front of them, holding a gun in, I think, in their mouth, or maybe it's on the floor, I can't remember. And then it just starts putting out statistics of the number of guns that are in America. And, again, they kind of cherry pick these statistics without giving any background information on them, which is textbook propaganda. What I've noticed about this after playing it, you'll see that the game is actually developed in Australia, which is not America, and they have an entirely different take on gun ownership. Also, you'll notice it says with the assistance of the Victoria state government. So the government is involved. Now the question is, why? So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe, leave a comment. And with any luck, I'll see you in the next video. And until then, take care.